Welcome back, everybody. You're with us here on Cape Rugby TV. It's fantastic to have you along. Right, so for those of you that have just tuned in, as I said earlier on, you're able to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. Stanley Raubenheimer is in studio with me. Stanley, it's fantastic to have you here. I hope you're enjoying watching rugby a little bit in a relaxed time.
Yeah, no, very much so. Look, the World Cup has been great.
Yeah.
There's a WX
we're going to talk about that just now.
women's tournament that is happening right on our doorstep. That has been great.
Well, just while you're there, let's just quickly talk about that.
Yep.
You've said this now a few times. WX1,
Yes.
WX2, WX3. For the folks that don't know, and even myself, we're obviously assuming that is a World 15.
Yep.
X. World,
Yes.
WX.
Yes.
Well, okay. So, and this is the women's sort of build up to the World Cup, or how does it work?
Yeah. Look, it's a three-tier women's competition that World Rugby launched this year, moving into a global calendar, and then seeing how we can get women to play more international rugby. So the men is also going that way in the future. But for us, it started with the women's this year. So we've got a WX Women's 15s 1, WX1, that is the top 6 teams. They are playing in New Zealand. The WX2 is the second.
So the top 6 are currently playing in New Zealand?
They're playing in New Zealand.
Is that the top 6 as according to the ranking?
According to rankings,
Right.
Australia, New Zealand, France, England, Wales, and they are playing there. The WX2 is where South Africa, Scotland, Japan, Samoa, there's one more, Italy, they are playing in South Africa, and then there's a WX3, which is Kenya, Spain, Ireland, Kazakhstan, there's one more team, and they're playing in Dubai. So all 3 of them, and then 3 and 2 as a promotion relegation this year. So the team finishing last in WX2 will be relegated to WX3, and the team finishing first in WX3 will be promoted. Look,
Does WX1 have a
WX1 doesn't have it for this year.
No relegation?
No relegation,
Okay.
WX1 year 1, but next year there will be.
Right.
So we're in a spot of bother. We're laying at the bottom, so we're playing on Friday at Athlone Stadium versus Samoa. So the one who's winning that one will stay in WX2. It's important for our team to do well to beat Samoa, so that we at least stay in WX2 and not being relegated to WX. So we're keeping thumbs for our ladies.
Yeah. But what a fantastic opportunity, though, for South Africa to be hosting the tournament, Cape Town to be hosting the tournament, and most important for Western Province Rugby to be hosting the tournament.
Now it's, look, Western Province is always a leading union in all of these things.
Yeah.
So we've got an opportunity to host it. And we've been supporting the event. The first game was in Stellenbosch, and now Athlone last week, and this week in Athlone. So the support was great there also.
And Western Province Rugby now have seemed to become experts at supporting these international tournaments. You've done junior world championships, but of course every year this time you have an influx of international sevens rugby teams, and we see Western Province Rugby supporting the tournament. Your staff are allocated to various teams as liaison officers. I mean, this is an enormous credit for a provincial union to be able to manage a world tournament.
Look, JP, I'm sitting in that meetings, and I must say, for me, I'm on the other side. I'm normally the coach of a team, and you rock up and everything is in place for you there. I think a lot of credit must go to Danny Jones, our leader in that group.
Your chief in charge.
The chief in charge with Faisal.
Faisal Felton,
and they putting this together, and there's lots of hot meetings to get it going. So
it's a tremendous amount of work. It's not only about organizing a local tournament, because you have to follow all the international regulations.
That's the thing.
And you have to deliver on all those requirements.
And there's no bias. And you watch Sammy, who's in charge of the referees department, last week we had a challenge with our team in terms of replacements and injuries. And you can't be biased towards your team, because all the teams that are here must be seen on the standard that World Rugby has set. So
and it's not negotiable.
It's non-negotiable.
Because the international format is locked down.
That's locked down.
They say this is how many facilities you need, this is how many hotels you need, this is the travel support you need, these are the flight arrangements that have to be organized, clothing, ice, catering. You have to deliver on all that.
And the thing is, it can't be different. Every team must have exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you give South Africa one, you must give Scotland one as well. There's no extras, and the unions or the countries, they expect that standard. World Rugby expect that standard, and you can't say, yeah, but it's because of this or that. No. With World Rugby, there's one standard for all teams, and you don't want comebacks. If you have comebacks from World Rugby, then there's a big problem.
Yeah, no. Well, big congratulations to you guys. From a Western Province point of view, I think it does show us why Western Province is considered one of the world's leading sports organisations. Folks, of course, as you can see behind me, SCORE is on board with Western Province Club Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. We're going to talk about that in a second. But before we go there, you can win yourself a case of SCORE energy drinks. All you need to do is go to visit our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and enter our Spot the Team competition. Right, so yeah, you can see it on the screen right now. There's an opportunity for you to give that a shot. I'm not going to put Stanley in the hot spot right now to identify that team, but if you know your club rugby, you will of course know that team. It's great that the teams are sending us their photographs, and great that we have an opportunity to give the clubs all that extra exposure. By the way, if you are watching right now, as you can see behind me, the clubs, they send us their jerseys, and you can see clearly SCORE Energy Drinks is on board with a lot of the club structures, it's a great opportunity to give your sponsors and partners extra exposure on for your club, so that you can secure your sponsors for your teams. So go to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and enter our Spot the Team competition. But on that note, it is the SCORE Western Province Club Rugby Sevens tournament. It starts next week on the 4th of November at 2 venues, and we're waiting for the teams to be announced now. In fact, there's just about 40 teams that are on board, going to be playing across 4 different pools. So it is back on, the annual SCORE Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. Fantastic opportunity. Stanley, the SCORE Sevens is now, I think, is now going to 8th year of the Sevens. What a great opportunity to keep the momentum of club rugby.
Look, we've missed it. It had such a nice build-up just before COVID, and you could see the crowds and the excitement of teams. Yeah. And it just gives another opportunity to maybe that second and third team player who's a very good sevens player that don't make your first team, that can represent your club on a very big stage. So very excited to see it back again, and hopefully the clubs were struggling to register themselves. I know there was a lot of clubs didn't pick up the phone and register with the union. But 40 clubs, it's a great kickoff again, and long may it continue and go from strength to strength.
The other part that is for me always thrilling about this tournament is that clubs who maybe play in Super League C or Super League B, they will now, or in the northern region or the southern region, Paarl region, they will now rub shoulders with the guys from Super League A, Super League B, and probably even beat them.
Well, there was a couple of surprises previously, and that's a nice thing about sevens. It's not where you play. It's the skill level, the speed, the catch and pass that is so important in the game. And that's why anyone can compete in this competition. It's almost like an FA Cup in England when it comes to the soccer, that on a day, a Division 2 team can beat a Premiership team, and the same with sevens.
I mean, some of the teams have become real specialists at this. You know, if I look at Hands and Hearts, they've become seven specialists. Tygerberg Rugby, they've become Belleville, they've become Albions. We've seen some unique efforts there. So, folks, we're going to be focusing on our clubs that are playing in the SCORE Western Province Club Rugby Sevens over the next few weeks, and really take a look at the fun times there. It's really going to be fantastic, so stay tuned. I have to just point out that Western Province Rugby are, of course, doing their coaching courses starting this weekend. In fact, it's the Level 2 Sevens Rugby coaching course, and then on the 3rd of November, strength and conditioning coaching course as well. Stanley, the strength and conditioning course is particularly important right now. People need to get into this.
Very important, especially our clubs. You know, it's, the people that is going to get your team up and running next year should be equipping themselves now, so that when your team comes together, we know exactly what to do with it.
Yeah. And one of the parts that I particularly like about it is that you can learn a little bit about personal training as a strength and conditioning coach, which means you can go back to your club and maybe even get some of the local community to come to the club and do fitness and training sessions. But that is the opportunity. Final word, Stanley. Springboks going to the Rugby World Cup final this weekend. It's the All Blacks. How fantastic for South Africa to be there again.
Now it's fantastic. We're going back to 95. We hope the magic is still there. And look, a lot of people on this platform most probably would say New Zealand. We know Western Cape is New Zealand country. But I'm really proud of what the team has achieved, and I hope all the best for our team.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been great to have you in the studio, and we're all excited to see you guys back here.
No, it's a pleasure, JP.
Right, folks, there we go. And I think going on what Stanley says there, I think one of the things that has been so exciting about the last couple of weeks of the Rugby World Cup is how many videos we've seen from people that are sharing their moments from all over the world getting behind the Springboks, where clearly that statement where there are 60 million people supporting the Boks is more and more looking like a reality, and everybody's behind the Springboks. So good luck for the Boks this weekend, and that's a wrap from us this weekend. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.